Wagwan, everybody. Welcome to our next episode of Talk the Things podcast. This episode is a weird episode, not just because of what we're talking about, but because it doesn't belong to any season. Right now, we're in between seasons, if you can say. We finished with season five, but I haven't officially started season six, and we're not going to until September. So this is just kind of like a free for all in between episode. But because of what happened, I said I'm gonna have to come out and talk about this. And I said I'm gonna wait a couple days to see if any crazy updates or anything like that was gonna come out with the case. But this is just such a weird story and we're gonna get straight into it. So the other day, what happened was there was a shooting at STC. STC is officially known as Scarborough Town Center, and it's in Scarborough. It's McCowan and Ellesmere, McCowan and Progress areas. That's all STC for people who don't come from the east. But that's the biggest mall in Scarborough, so it's a prominent mall. But I don't know if I've ever heard of a shooting in STC. There maybe was. You have to let me know in the comment section. But this shooting was unlike any other mall shooting that I've even talked about on this podcast. And as you go through the facts, you're going to hear. So first, I want to read you guys a post from Toronto Police, and this is what it says. It says on Thursday, August 21st, 2025, at approximately 1:51 p.m., police responded to a call that someone had been shot at Scarborough Town Center. It's reported that officers located a man in the washroom of the mall with injuries. The man was pronounced deceased on scene. The victim has been identified as Daniel Alamatas, 19, of Toronto. Now, you're going to hear in the news clips that I play later on that it was like a 20-year-old, because I think at first that's what they thought. And it continues to say that the image has been released and anyone with information or video from the area can contact whatever, blah, 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 blah. Now, what was so weird about this shooting that we never heard in any other shooting that I talked about, even the shooting I think I did in Yorkdale and Sheridan Mall, this one is strange because nobody never heard no gunshot. And the next thing was that the people that worked in the mall never even knew that a shooting happened. There was no lockdown. There was nothing. Nobody seen people running. Like when I did the one with Sheridan Mall, there was a whole video that I even put out in the podcast. You can see the man running and then you can see the people running behind him, shoot him up, run out the mall. There was none of that. Nobody never seen nothing. And even in the news clips, you guys are going to see when police is taping up the place and stuff, families are still sitting down. Like there was no evacuation, there was no emergency, there was no nothing. So that right there, it was already starting to say, okay, something's off with this case. Because even if the people, shot him and left, they still wouldn't be moving so calm, like they were moving like as if there was no threat at all. So the way that the police them even found out that this happened was that shoppers went into the bathroom and seen, I think it was a family that went into the bathroom and seen him in there. Now it wasn't like a full bathroom with all of the stalls. I mean, it was little private family bathrooms that the whole family can go in. So I'm gonna play you guys the two news clips now, make you guys hear that, and then I'm gonna come back with my whole thoughts about this strange case. You guys listen to this.
Man has died. I've just confirmed with Toronto police sources that the victim is in fact an adult. He is over the age of 18. There is still a police presence here at Scarborough Town Centre. This man found inside the washroom just off of the food court inside Scarborough Town Centre, just beyond here, entrance 7. We're showing you a couple of police cruisers here at the scene. Still a very active police presence, of course. This all happened just before 2 o'clock. It was 1:50, Jamie, that this man was discovered inside the bathroom. He was suffering very clearly from gunshot wounds, and he was pronounced dead here at the scene. Something that I've learned from my police sources, Jamie, and perhaps the reason to explain why there's kind of almost an air of nonchalantness here at the mall, in the sense of not an air of urgency as we typically see when there's an active shooter in a very public setting like a shopping mall. I'm hearing from my sources, Jamie, there was never a call made to 911 for sounds of gunshots. So it's not like people heard gunshots and scattered, running for their lives inside the mall. The call actually made to police and to 911 was that someone had been found inside the bathroom on the food court level, suffering from gunshot wounds. At that point, police arrived, first responders arrived, and this victim was pronounced dead here at the scene. The mall was never locked down, and I can tell you as well, that's incredibly different from what I've experienced covering other mall shootings. For example, I covered the Sherway Gardens shooting several years ago. And at that scene, we saw the emergency task force arriving, those officers going store to store, stall to stall, change room to change room, evacuating the mall and getting people out of concern. There was still an armed person inside the mall. So in this case, police say that this person was discovered just before 2 o'clock. There was never a call for sounds of gunshots, so we don't exactly know when the shooting happened. Police telling CP24, though, they do believe that the shooting happened, the incident happened inside the mall. And certainly there's a lot of video cameras all around this mall, inside and outside. So kind of the non-urgency suggests that there's perhaps police believing that the person responsible for this shooting had already left the mall by the time they responded here to Scarborough Town Centre. So just by police reaction, it doesn't seem, Jamie, like there's any concern for threat of public safety. If that was the case, they would certainly shut down the mall and you wouldn't see people coming and going, families and children, from the mall like we're seeing this afternoon. Again, one person pronounced dead, a man over the age of 18. That's all the information I have about the victim. No information on suspects at this point yet. I am hearing there is a good chance we'll be hearing from Toronto Police. Not a big surprise. Public setting, a mall. We're just waiting to hear when that might happen. I've been told the Homicide Squad has been notified, but they've not yet taken carriage of this investigation, of course.
By the man killed at Scarborough Town Centre earlier this week. And for the very latest, CP24's Melissa Duggan is live outside the mall. And Melissa, this started as a suspicious death, but now it's a homicide. What is this latest that we got from police?
Yeah, that's right, Seja. So initially, it wasn't clear kind of the circumstances that led to this young person being found dead in a bathroom here at Scarborough Town Centre. But what we can confirm to you now, Toronto Police just releasing an update moments ago saying that this investigation has been handed over to the homicide unit, and they've also identified the victim in this case. Initially, he was reported as a man in his 20s. Now we know he is this man, 19 years old, Daniel Amalathis of Toronto, just being identified by Toronto Police this afternoon. What we can tell you is that police were called to the mall around 2 o'clock on Thursday afternoon after a man was found dead along with a firearm in a washroom, police recovering that firearm from the scene here at the Scarborough Town Centre. Police said initially that shoppers discovered the man unconscious in a family washroom near the lower level food court area. They notified mall security. They then reported this to Toronto Police. And again, as you mentioned, at the time, police initially saying that they were treating this as a suspicious incident. Further investigations led them to the homicide unit taking this over. At the time, no gunshots were reported being heard in the mall. So that kind of really just lent itself to some questions being asked exactly how this may have happened. And they also say that it happened in a very confined space that no one seemed to know about until people just happened to be in this washroom and unfortunately found this 19-year-old man dead. We know this is Toronto's 27th homicide so far this year. And Cesar, I just got off the phone with Toronto Police asking them, can they tell us anything about suspects in this case, anything in terms of arrest, anything like that. The line we're getting right now, no word yet when it comes to suspects, so no descriptions to share with you and no real information in this case when it comes to being released to the public when it comes to looking for the people responsible for this homicide. Again, police just revealing the identity of the victim in this case and confirming that the homicide unit is now investigating. Back to
All right, so you guys just heard those two news clips. Now, my thoughts on this whole case. The first thing I want to say was when you look at the picture of this person, right? Now, you can't necessarily stereotype, but this person don't look like he was involved in nothing for a man to come in the mall and come shoot him. And it gets worse because I was even wondering now if it was him offing himself, right? Say that was the case, because that's what a lot of people start to think happened. If I never said that yet, I don't think I did. And that's what I think happened. I think this guy probably offed himself, and people start to think that just because there was nobody, there was no nothing, like there was nobody running you down. People said they didn't even hear the gunshot. And then when I say, you look at him, does he look like he was necessarily involved in nothing where niggas would be chasing him, trying to shoot him? No. And then he's 19, that's whatever. But like, he just don't look like he was in them life. But then you will still have to ask, where did he get the gun then? Because he was still shot. So where did you get the gun? Even if you did shoot yourself, where did you get the gun to do that? Now, if police really thought that a man came in there, hunt him down and shot him, they would have locked down the mall, and you would have been seeing like people run. You would have been seeing so much, not the way this happened, that just nobody don't know nothing. And I find that kind of weird too. Like that's one of the last things that are my thoughts on this case is how did nobody not hear anything? A gunshot is pretty loud. I know the mall is full and there's lots of people, and he might have been, in a secluded area like the news clip said, but still, how nobody don't hear nothing? You just go in there and see the body like that, like unless he had a silencer. But I think even the silencer, I think it would still be pretty loud for being inside of a mall. You know what I mean? I don't know. Anybody who was in STC these times, you have to let me know in the comment section how it went, because it seems pretty strange to me. I'm not gonna lie. Like, what else do you think could happen? And when I'm looking through Reddit and I'm looking through stuff to try to see if people like know who he is or if he's in them street stuff, nobody don't know who this guy is. He just seems like just an ordinary person, like an ordinary kid, right? That's not involved in these street stuff. So this is a strange case. And then even, there's lots of mental health, but you would have to wonder what caused him to do this. What caused you to go into the bathroom in STC and go do this? But from what I've read, people say going to the mall and doing this type of stuff is pretty popular. Not popular, like, but it happens a lot more than what you would think does. So I'm just gonna make you guys let me know what you think about this whole case down below. And we will talk next time on Talk the Things podcast.